Welcome back. It's Allie Brigham from Best You for Life and Charlotte Nutrition and Wellness. We are going through Module 1 right now. And this portion called Getting Started, there's a lot that goes on in the Getting Started phase, especially as you see in the handout in your email module about recognizing real foods versus fake and processed foods and starting to incorporate more organically grown foods rather than foods that have been sprayed with insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. But initially, as we go through this whole learning process and really understanding what is in our food supply, I need to get you started on some things to start incorporating into your diet, some actual things to do, recipes, things that you can eat. One of the best ways in the whole wide world that you can get a whole load of superfoods in your body is through a smoothie. But you have to know how to build the smoothie the right way. So we want to have our macronutrients in proportion. So you can use, I'm going to use a high-speed blender. This is a Versa blender. It's kind of like a Vitamix. But if you have a Ninja or a Bullet, or really just any kind of blender, you can start with that as well. So it says on your sheet that you want to start with a good quality plant-based protein powder. I listed a bunch of good ones there. This is a vanilla plant-based protein powder that comes from pea protein, rice protein, and cranberry protein. So I happen to just like vanilla. It's kind of a personal preference because I just like the way it makes the smoothie taste. So first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of liquid. Because I'm using frozen organic berries and frozen greens. This is frozen kale, Swiss chard, and what else did I throw in here? Kale, Swiss chard, and collard greens. So I buy a lot of flash frozen vegetables just because they stay longer, and sometimes vegetables that are flash frozen have a little bit more nutrition because they're able to be picked when they're more ripe. So I'm gonna take my pitcher and just maybe fill it up with a few ounces of filtered water. And I have a filter that is hooked up to my sink that's under the counter. That's a 6-step filtration system with reverse osmosis because I like my water to be really clean. So I put about that much water in, and then we're gonna start with, I don't go overboard on the protein powder. To get 20 grams of protein is 2 scoops of this one. I'm just gonna put 1 scoop in because I like to choose, and I keep my protein powder in a nice airtight container like this. I'm going to add an additional protein. So I'm gonna add a little kefir, and I like goat kefir. So there is, in any health food store, you can find goat kefir. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that into there, probably about, I don't know, half a cup. It just gives it I love yogurt in my smoothies, gives it a creamy texture. And you do want to have full fat goat kefir because we as humans, we can't digest cow dairy. It's too high in type 2 casein and lactose. It's a very, very hard, dense bond for our digestive systems to break down. So it's okay to have cow dairy, now and again, but you don't want to have it in a regular part of your diet. Goat dairy, on the other hand, very different enzymes. We're able to break down goat dairy. If you want to even add more protein, you can add a little bit of bone broth. My protein powder tastes so delicious by itself, so it masks the flavor. And then I'm going to choose a healthy fat. So for this one, I have raw almond butter and chia butter. So this is just ground up almonds and chia seeds that I got at the health food store. It's non-GMO. So I'm going to take a whole big globby tablespoon of that. I don't really measure it out, but I know I'm getting, just from doing this from so long, I know I'm getting the proper proportion of macronutrients. So if you looked at the handout in your email module 1 for getting started, you always want to have a healthy fat, a quality protein, a non-starchy carb, and you want to have all of the macros. So, and you want to choose a veggie. So I'm going to take a handful of these frozen greens, a big giant handful, and just dump it in. It's really like, this is more condensed because it's frozen. So it's like having a big giant salad. thrown in there that I don't even taste because all this other stuff's gonna make it taste good. So now I'm gonna add some, oh boy, and I didn't even open these yet. I'm gonna add some frozen organic blueberries because when you mix it with the almond butter or if you use walnut butter, it gives it such a great flavor. So I'm gonna add just a handful of wild blueberries are the best. If you can't find wild blueberries, any frozen organic blueberries are great. Also, raspberries are great, as are blackberries, as are strawberries. Berries are lowest in sugar of all the fruits and highest on the ORAC scale for antioxidant value. So you're getting the best nutritional bang for your buck when you use berries as opposed to things like bananas and mangoes, which are very high in sugar. So it also says on there you can choose a superfood. I like this activated sprouted trail mix. It has just dried goji berries and golden berries and cacao nibs and mango. So all of those are superfoods. And a lot of these super berries that grow, they grow in indigenous climates. Very hard to grow in the United States, so we can only get them in their dried form. There's also sultans, currants, pumpkin seeds in here. So again, this one's called Living Intentions, and I got this on Vitacost.com. It's less expensive on Vitacost.com or at any health food store. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit of that in for added spicy flavor. And then I'm gonna blend it up. But I'm already noticing that it's gonna be a really thick consistency. Well, maybe not. Let's see what happens. You can always adjust your consistency. Some people like their smoothies really, really thick. Some people like them really, really thin. I like mine a little bit more liquidy. You're gonna get your glass and your straw. And you're really just gonna blend it until everything's pulverized in there. And this is actually a full, complete meal. And this would probably fill up a 12-ounce glass. And, oh my goodness. It is so delicious. You can also add cinnamon or nutmeg if you like that baked flavor, which is awesome. And that's basically it. So right now, it took me 5 minutes to make that as I was explaining it. So sometimes we make our family smoothies in the morning. It's literally like boom, 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 boom. And here you go, family. It's just an extra added nutrition kick in the morning because we all need protein. If you want mental stimulation, cognitive ability, focus, attention span, and you want to light a fire under your metabolic rate, speed up your metabolism, protein is essential in the morning. And this is loaded with protein because of the almond butter and the chia seeds, and loaded with great omega-3, 6, and 9 essential fatty acids. And it has a little bit of bone broth, and it has the kefir, which is fermented dairy, and it has the protein powder. So I'm really using a combination of everything because you don't really want to live on powders and protein bars because they're a processed food. Yes, of course it is okay as a convenience meal, but if you can make this in under 5 minutes and you could, jar them, you can have a few throughout the next couple of days. They'll stay just fine in your refrigerator. Just shake it up. So that is just a wonderful way to get so many superfoods in your body all at once, and will definitely give you more sustained energy because all of these foods are very low in the glycemic index, so they won't spike your insulin level. Okay, so that's all for now. Practice on making your build a smoothie. And again, you could pick one of those things from each category and you can change it up as you wish, because remember, we never want to eat the same thing the same way every single day because our bodies become complacent. They just kind of come to a standstill and they get bored. Just like if you exercise the same way every day for the rest of your life, your body's going to become complacent. It's not really going to move or work or burn anymore. So we got to keep changing this stuff up. So I always have tons of ideas for you. But that's all for now, and enjoy your smoothie.